All right, mi gente, we back with another Teal Grit podcast. Got another special guest. You guys know him by Edgar Daniel. I just know him as a dope-ass homie that's been doing his dope-ass photography and video work. So we have a lot of history working together. I think now he lives in LA, but I'll let you guys meet him right now in a second. So here we go. What's up, Edgar?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just finally getting some heat out here in San Jose. It's starting to warm up a bit. It's been kind of cold and rainy. I don't know how it is where you at right now.
It's actually beautiful today, man. It's like it's been like really ugly the last couple like weeks. It's been like raining and stuff, but yeah, it's good to have some nice weather. But sucks that we can't really go out. But
So you're in LA, right?
Yeah, I'm in LA. I stay in the Valley, so not like in the heart of LA, but yeah, I stay like in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay. And so where do you stay at your own house or where do you work out?
Yeah. So we're renting a house.
Okay.
I got a few roommates. We're all in the same kind of field, so it's pretty cool.
Dope.
Creative house, so
yeah.
There's always something going on here at the house, so it's pretty dope. Kind of it keeps you consistent with like staying up to shit. Like it's like a friendly competitive thing where you just always got to be doing something. Not be slack.
That's good to have. Someone that's gonna push you, or there's always times that you learn something from that person or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like anytime you it's a collaborative thing. Anytime you collaborate with something, the best way to do it is to be able to learn a little something off someone. If not, then you just kind of I personally think that's the best way to get gamed up on shit.
Work with people, especially if you live with them. Damn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean?
It's like perfect.
Yeah, the cool thing with here at my house, like a lot of my roommates, they do production design.
Mm-hmm.
So they help out like build the sets for me and stuff. So when I have videos that I'm directing, I'll just hire in house, just hire my fucking roommates. So
yeah, that's pretty badass.
It always feels like we're just hanging out. It doesn't even feel like we're working because it's just it's a family. So it's dope.
So before we get into that, which is a juicy topic, let's kind of go back a little bit just to give the audience a little context of how we know each other. So as far as when I met you, when the hell was that?
That probably was like 2010, 11 maybe.
And how exactly did we meet? I can't recall exactly how that happened.
I'm trying to think of it also. I know I was following you online for a while because of we were friends with Ralph.
Yeah.
With Ralphie.
DJ Sane. Yeah.
DJ Sane. Shout out DJ Sane. Yeah, so, went to high school with him, so it's like he would always be around you guys.
Ah.
So that's kind of how I think I found out about you.
Yeah.
So.
And then isn't that when we got the studio, right? Is that when
we got that one studio in San Jose.
Mm.
What was it at exactly? Like fucking almost Milpitas?
That was by Murphy, I think Murphy Road and Oakland Road or something like that.
Yeah. Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had that. That's when we first like really linked up,
Yeah. And
then we had that.
And also
we had that for like a year, right? I think.
Yeah, we had about a year, and I know at that time too you had the 9190, right, clothing line?
Yeah. I had the clothing line with some of my homies that I grew up with from high school.
So how did that start? Just to get a little bit of story behind how you started the clothing line.
Well, the clothing line started with my homie Eric and another one of our homies. Another one of our homies. They sat me down and they were like, "Yo, we have an idea for something that we want to do."
Yeah.
And it's like we wanna start a clothing line, and they already had the name, so they came up with the name. They approached it to me about it, and I was already kind of doing like music stuff. I've been doing music stuff since I was in high school, so I was like producing And that's how I was like cool with Zane because you know, like I'll send him beats and shit.
Yeah.
Uh, and then when we got the studio together, you know, we would both like have our equipment in there and shit. So,
Yeah.
so pretty much I was already doing shit with like music, and I was gonna be like the other force of it, like the entertainment side of the fucking clothing line, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the graphics and all that shit. Um, and yeah, they wanted to do something, and we came up with that name, and then we slowly started doing stuff together, like really simple stuff. Like we had another friend of mine named Andy that was helping us with design. He made the logo for us,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were just doing that, like just some kids having fun, and slowly we got into meeting other people that were like deeper into the music scene. When we were going in college. And that's kind of how everything started growing slowly and slowly. Everybody's connected, you know. So
Yeah.
once you really get into the scene, like you start really realizing how many people know each other, and it's just, you know, you just connect with people and just start growing.
Yeah, that was a fun time because I know you guys were doing a lot of like events too, right? I mean, you guys would put your
Yeah, we used
stamp on it, you know.
yeah, those are fun. You know, we used to do like these little shows with a bunch of other clothing lines and other people,
Yeah.
and we would do pretty well. You know,
Yeah.
we did some cool stuff with the clothing line. We had a couple cool, like, I would say some celebrities wore it. Like the biggest dude that I'd probably say wore it was Logic.
Yeah.
We have some cool stuff from him wearing it at a show.
Yeah.
But it was fun, man. You know, like it got to a point though where it's like everybody, you know, it wasn't everybody's full time thing. So everybody just kind of got caught up with life and ended up going their own ways. And I just got deeper and deeper into the visual world to where I ended up just kind of taking more into that than the clothing itself.
Yeah, so that's the next thing. So I know you had the clothing line and you're also doing like some, what is it, like some music producing? Was it music were you an engineer?
Yeah, yeah.
Or was the
I
focus
was
there?
music. I was producing,
Yeah.
learning how to engineer. So that's what I was going to college for. I was going to community college for that,
Yeah.
to learn how to engineer a little better and stuff. And then that's kind of like where it came, you know, when we clicked up with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Sam was a little bit better engineer than I was already at the time, so
Yeah.
he kind of helped out with that end, and I was kind of producing stuff for him. And then we just had the studio. It was just like more of I think I would say it's more of a thing that we just used ourselves. We didn't really run it like too much like a business.
Nah, it was more for fun,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, it was more for fun. Like we had like what, 3 rooms? Like we had
Yeah.
the studio, and then we had our editing room where you and I
Yeah.
were at pretty much.
Uh-huh.
We had our desk in there, and then we had the other room that had like just the photo equipment.
Yeah. It was
Yeah, that was tight.
yeah, I guess you would say it's almost like what you have now, right? Like we were all in the same kind of place and we would all collab with each other and create things.
Yeah, it was a creative hub.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of like whatever needed to get done. It's like at that time you were already doing videos,
Yeah.
and fucking killing it. So it's like when we started doing shit all together, it was just kind of like we joined forces to create
It was like
something.
the Avengers.
Yeah, the Mexican Avengers.
Yeah. With the Mexican flag in the back.
Yeah, but yeah, it was cool. You know, like when he was doing those projects, we were all doing just something to it. You know, like we would take the photo in house, we'd do the video together.
Yeah.
So it was cool, man. We learned a lot. You know, I definitely learned a lot from you. Saw your work ethic. You were already doing it full time for a long time, so
Yeah.
I was still working my day job. I had the insurance job that I was doing.
Oh, that's right.
Insurance, yeah. And I'll show up to the office fucking all in the suit
Yeah,
and
with
shit, ready
your
to take some photos.
yeah, I remember you would come in with your tie and everything.
Yeah. So
Like ready to get some money.
yeah,
No,
ready to fuck you.
that was dope. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to know for sure the story behind how you even got to LA. That's another transition, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
so where did
yeah.
that? How did that happen? And where did that thought of like I need to go to LA? How did that happen?
Well, it's pretty long story since after we left that studio that we had together. You know, I started helping out another homie that had his own studio. He had just like an empty ass warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
and he was he was a producer as well. So we would link up on the music hype already, you know.
Yeah.
And he started doing videos, and I was already kind of doing videos, so I would let him borrow my equipment. We just chop it up. Either I'll go to his spot, let him borrow my lenses, and we'll just sit there and talk. And I produced a song, and it had Raven Justice on it, and this other homie that I had, and it was just a full production of mine. And I wanted to shoot the video, and I ended up doing it with my homie. And we ended up working so well together that we just ended up just continuing to work, and we did a bunch of shit together. And years passed by, and I got to the point where I wanted to continue growing in the video world.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, well, what's going on there? It was like the structure changed to where they wanted to stay local.
Yeah.
As a business, and I wanted to individually just continue my path as a director and continue growing in that field. So, I got to a point where it's like, it's now or never. I'm not making enough money pretty much to like move out and live in San Jose. It's like I wanted to move out already and do something on my own, but it was kind of like, if I move out, I don't want to move out and stay in San Jose.
Yeah.
Especially in the industry that I want to be in,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like keeping me as busy as I wanted.
Yeah.
And I was already doing jobs out in LA, like doing behind the scenes for bigger directors.
Oh, I see.
And I got the opportunity to do some really cool stuff with some major artists.
Yeah.
Some major Latin artists. I was like, to me, it was like a dream come true, you know? So it was like, I'm doing this while I'm in San Jose.
Yeah.
Imagine if I'm in the heart of it.
Yeah, that's
dope.
Mm-hmm.
So once I came out here, I literally came out here with no one that I really knew. Like, I knew a couple people, but it was like the people that I moved in with, I didn't know them. So it was completely new to me. So living with people you didn't know was also, kind of like a weird thing sometimes, but it made it work, so.
How did you meet the people you moved in with?
Well, before I moved to LA, I was already doing, like I said, a couple jobs.
Oh, you met them through that?
Yeah. So I met one of them. They were from the Bay as well, but they were, I didn't really know them like that.
Yeah.
And my homie that I live with now, he hired me on one of his jobs. I helped him out on set. It was just like we did 2 videos back to back on the same day, and we ended up just being cool. And when I was trying to move out here, he had like literally asked me like, "Yo, we have a room that just opened up." And then I was gonna move in with some other people, and that fell through. So I hit him back up, and I was like, "Yo, if you guys still need someone, I'm available. I'm like ready to go."
Yeah.
So moved in with them, and we lived in this apartment for like maybe 2-3 weeks, or maybe a month, I believe. And then we moved into the house that we have now. We've been here for almost 2 years now.
Oh, I see.
So it's been a minute now, but yeah, moving, dude, honestly changed my life, So for me, it's like, I feel like the things, how my life was like maybe a year and a half ago is completely different to the people that I'm working with, the shit that I'm learning now, just the scale of things. So yeah, I'm really happy that I made the move, man.
Talking about scale, man, I know the scale you're on, and it's pretty big because I've seen the videos you've produced or directed, I should say, and they're freaking fire. Like, there's no other way to put it, but it's basically art, like you have to appreciate this kind of art too. I mean, people got to see it. If you guys got to follow my guy, what's your IG again?
Edgar Daniel 199X.
Yeah, so I'll have it in the description, but definitely you guys need to check out this guy. Obviously we have a lot of history, but what are you? How did you zone out, or how did you focus and say, I want to direct? Like, what told you that was your direction? Like, there has to be something in you that was like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Honestly, man, it's I've always just been intrigued with just creating stuff. Like, it started with music. From music, it went into, like back in the day, it was like MySpace, So it was like I was designing flyers for my beats to try to sell them.
yeah.
On MySpace.
Good days.
yeah. So, and then I started getting hit up by artists, like local artists, to be like, "Yo, let me do my cover. Like, I really like the way you did that flyer."
Yeah.
And I started getting into graphics because of that. Because people were just hitting me up for my own work that I was doing for myself,
Yeah.
and it would send me really shitty photos. So I picked up the camera, and I
Nice.
was
Yeah.
like, "I'll take the picture and I'll do the cover," and
Solving the problem.
yeah. So, and then once I got the camera, I got so into the camera itself, but just try to like the challenge of trying to overcome something new and mastering it.
Yeah.
It overtook everything else. So to me, I was like, I want to master this and be great at this now.
Yeah.
It was music, so I was trying to do the music thing. I wasn't the best at it, but I still loved it. And then I got into cameras, and then the camera started becoming my new thing. And then during the time, I don't know if you remember the local like big directors that we had in the Bay for a minute. It was like what was his name? Razor. You remember Razor?
Oh yeah, I remember Razor. Yep.
Yeah, the Razor. He was doing like a bunch of like
He was killing
local,
it.
like,
He was putting those out like freaking hotcakes.
Yeah. So I remember his videos. There was like the local artists around us that were like making moves.
Yeah.
And they had like the dopest like videos, and I was like, "Damn, that's fucking hard," So
Yeah.
I instantly thought, I was like, as soon as I get my camera, I'm gonna be doing some shit like that, So there was Razor, there was Colin Tilley, Colin Tilley, which is fucking a huge director now, but
Yeah.
at the time he started locally with the pack and shit,
Yeah.
But yeah, I see artists, directors like that, and I was like, and then I looked into it, and they were like, they had a Canon like 5D, and I was like, I'm gonna get myself a Canon. I got myself it wasn't a 5D, but I got myself one that did video, and I was like, I'm gonna shoot videos and be sick as fuck, and I was whack as fuck at it. So,
what camera did you start with?
I started with the Canon 60D, I believe.
60D.
It had a 60D, yeah. I think it was a 60D, yeah. But that was my first video camera.
Uh-huh.
My first photography camera. Damn, I don't even remember. It was a Canon, but it was an old one. It was still gray. Like they're black now.
Oh yeah. Oh, was it a Rebel series?
Man, I don't even remember because I didn't know anything about cameras. And at the place I was working at, there was this girl that was she was a photographer, and she had the camera, and she was like, "I'll sell it to you for like $100."
Oh wow.
And I was like, "Fuck it!" I never had a Canon before, so I was like, I bought it off of her.
Yeah.
And literally, nomás me duró like maybe a month, and it broke on me.
Oh
Fuck,
man.
So then that's when I kind of.
What's funny? I think I remember you having that camera. For some reason, it's kind of vague, but I kind of remember you having a great camera for some reason.
Damn, yeah. I don't know if it was back then, but yeah, dude, it's like I had that. I still probably have it somewhere at my parents' house.
Wow.
But I never threw it away because I was like, that's like my first camera that it's like.
Damn.
That was more like a real photography camera. Because before that, growing up, my parents bought me like those little point and shoots. They were like you remember them because they would be like all red, bright red, little cameras with a big LED screen in the back.
Oh
like
yeah. Yeah, the ones with the lenses that come out.
Yeah, it was just like it has a built-in lens. So I had
yeah.
that during high school, and I was like making little videos with my friends.
Yeah.
We would do like parody videos. But that's kind of like how I started. I never really thought that I was gonna do videos, but I started like making funny shit. Like we would like recreate like MTV Cribs.
Oh yeah.
We would do little stupid stuff like that, but everything slowly started progressing as I got more into the technicalities of the camera.
So as far as video production, what you say you're a director, right?
Yeah, I'm a music video director right now.
So what is it about directing that appeals to you? From all the other things that the video production world brings, like why do you like directing the most?
It's because you get to tell a story, you get to tell your idea, and that's just to say currently right now that I'm interested in being a director because it's like this is just like track record of my life that I've jumped around within the creative industry.
Yeah.
I feel like I like being versatile in what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's different outlets because I know a lot of people like writers that get writer's block.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as being a director because you have to write treatments constantly and you have to do a lot of writing.
Yeah.
So sometimes you come across that same thing when you get writer's block. But the cool thing is that you're able to jump around. Well, at least with me, I'm able to have different avenues of creativity. Yeah, I'm able to, hone in on, like, if I want to do photography or graphics, and all of that inspires me still to create something. And even if I'm doing something else, it might like click on me and be like, oh, now I have the perfect video idea, and then I could go do it,
Yeah.
But it's just in general within the directing, I think they all connect. Photography, a cinematographer, which is another big thing that I love doing, is being the camera guy.
Yeah.
But when you're the director, you're like pretty much all of it in one. You're the one that's controlling. You're the captain of the ship in a way,
Yeah. So that's why you like directing more than anything else, right?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I would say, I have love for all of it, but currently, right now, I would say I'm concentrating as a director because it's again one of those things where I just want the challenge that I haven't mastered yet.
Yeah.
And I want to get to that point where I could say that it's like, okay, I feel comfortable enough to jump into any job or any new challenge as a director and feel comfortable doing it,
Yeah.
Which it's one of those things where it's like, as you can see, there's directors that are like, this is a career where, you never finish learning. So
yeah,
it's going to be one of those things where it's like this, I'm never really going to fully feel satisfied because every single time I'm doing something, I learn something new. There's a new challenge. I messed up. So every time I finish one video, I'm like, damn, I fucked up here. But now I'm excited to get on the next one because it's like, I learned something new,
Yeah. You want to
so
show...
it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, it's that challenge of you wanting to like really master it.
But even like what you said right now, that you do the photography and the design aspect of arts, I think that's, like you said, it's a really inspiring and motivating type of feeling, right? Because you have all these tools in your head that you could use towards your video directing. So I think it's really dope that you have those skills, and I mean, it sets you apart, right, from everybody else. You're a unique director too in that sense.
Yeah, I hope so. And then also when it comes to my job, what I try to do is control the narrative as far as like how the audience is going to see everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to control the marketing side of it. Like, yeah, I could shoot the video, but I also want to do your cover art to the video so it connects.
Yeah, that's dope.
So everything is cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
Usually on my sets, I try to take the photograph of the artist that we're going to use for the video. I mean, for the cover art.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was already doing before for other directors. They were hiring me to come in, do behind the scenes, but to get the the photograph shot of the cover that they wanted. And then they'll make me do the cover art right there on the spot. But like this, I would connect it to the video. And I was able to get positions like that because I would just do shit for free, like for fun. Like when I did my first BTS job, they didn't ask me to do any of that. They just they wanted photos, and that was it, photos and video.
Yeah.
And I was designing just for fun. When the video came out, I put it all together. I did like a collage of all my photos that I did, and I made a poster for it,
Yeah.
And I put it out, and I made it look like a movie poster. And then it went like, the artists were pretty big. They were like Latin artists. So they were like...
Who is it for people that don't know?
The first one that I did some poster art for was Prince Royce.
Big Bachata King.
Yeah, Bachata King, And then it was Farruko.
Yeah.
And then I did a lot for Maluma.
Those are no local artists, that's for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, when I got to work with them, to me, it felt like, okay, I'm doing something that now my parents can believe in, because, working with local artists, and even if it's a local artist that has, quite like he's pretty much, really known in our area, like there's, you could say famous people. Yeah. Which we found to be like really dope to us, but our parents are like Latinos, they're Mexican, they don't know who the hell they are, So they don't. No. To them, it's like they see me out there. Tigres del Norte. Yeah, Los Tigres del Norte. They just see me like, they saw me like with the camera and like not having a real job anymore after I quit my job. So they're like, damn, this kid's going downhill. He's living in a fantasy,
Oh, really?
That's kind of how it was for me, Like for a long time, my parents just kind of kept telling me, like, you got to put your feet on the ground and
So
be realistic.
so when was the time that they're like, okay, you got something here, like, oh, we believe you're doing it now?
It was literally, I think, at that point when I started working with artists like that, because
Uh,
these videos were being premiered on channels that they were watching.
yeah.
You know?
What was
So
their
they
what was
got,
your parents' reaction when you're like, I shot that BTS or whatever, that picture?
yeah, to them it was kind of like, because they were showing the flyer
Uh-huh.
on the TV, and that was, to me, was like, that's crazy that they're showing that shit. You know, that they were showing my photos
Yeah.
on this, like, I don't know if it was this one. I'm not 100% sure if this is exactly how it went, but I think it was like En el Gordo y la Flaca. I
Oh
think it was one
yeah,
of those
yeah.
shows.
Go to that
So
fuck,
it was
yeah.
like they got to see something I did on one of those shows, and they were like, "Oh shit, like this is real," you know, like you're not
Yeah.
just fucking around no more, you know. So
uh,
yeah,
it must have
and,
felt
and so
good,
that,
right?
yeah, that felt incredible. Uh, so that, so working with artists like that, to me, it was like, I really gotta, step it up and continue working harder now that I'm like so close. I felt so close, and when you really get out here, you're like, damn, everything is like, it's such a it's kind of like in the Bay, how you were saying, like how everybody's connected and everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
It's the same thing out here, but it's just the level of artists are like just way bigger, you know?
Yeah, I mean, because you're in Hollywood, so it's like
Yeah,
everybody goes there to get work
yeah,
done.
exactly. So that's why it was like when I came out here, everything just kind of like, I noticed it in that same perspective of like how everybody knows each other locally, and it's the same thing here. So I was like, now I'm starting to get into the groove of things of like meeting new people that know this person, that know that person, and put you in positions that for a great opportunity, you know. So, but it literally, it took me being here for me to really get into it, you know.
And how did you start working with those what is it? Cinema Giants? Is that the name of the production?
That was a production company.
Yeah.
So it was another homie of ours. His name his name's Santiago. He had another smaller company,
Mm,
and he was a fan of the work that we were doing
yeah.
back in the Bay. Some of the video jobs that we were already doing, and he hit us up on Instagram, and he was just like, "Yo, I just want to hire you guys to do some DP work for us."
Yeah.
And me and the homie went and we did the job. They went to San Jose actually, and we did a job together out there. It was
Oh,
like a little
okay.
commercial.
Yeah.
And then he got hired by Cinema Giants.
Oh, okay.
So when he got hired at Cinema Giants, he brought us in. He was like, "Yo, I know some guys that could do cool BTS. They have a really good style." And when they brought us in, I guess we impressed the director, which his name is Jesse Terrero.
Yeah.
Super dope director.
Yeah, yeah. He's dope.
So he liked what we did for him, and he hired us for multiple things after that. We did this other. It was like a pilot show
Mm-hmm.
for what's his name? Evan Ross. What's his name? He's Diana Ross's son. Forget his name.
Not sure.
But it was Jessica Ashley Simpson. Do you know Ashley Simpson?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it was her and her husband. I'm pretty sure his name is Evan Ross. They were doing like a joint album. That the Simpsons family was really big.
Yeah.
They're the ones that started like reality TV show. In my opinion, I feel like they started that shit.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
You know, but they wanted to do like a reality TV show type of thing, and he hired us to do that. They were like in the studio making music, so we did that for a little bit. We did that for like a month. We were in a recording studio with them, and that was out here in LA. So we would come do trips every weekend and stay like 3 days with them, just be in the studio and shit. And now that show's on TV, so that was kind of cool. That was the first thing we did.
Oh, nice.
So we just recorded the pilot for that pretty much. But after we did that for him, he still kind of hired us for more BTS stuff. They hired me for a bunch of flyers for the music videos that they were doing, and they would give the flyer, or not the flyers, but they would make the posters, and they would print them out and give them to the label and the artist.
Mm.
So I was getting like my name around like that. So when I came out here, actually when I first moved out here, he hired me again to do another job for Maluma, and I believe her name was Carol G. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Carol G.
Karol G, yeah.
Yeah, Carol G. And I did the artwork for that one. So that one I did the cover art for. That was the first time he actually hired me for the cover art,
That's
which
dope.
was really cool for me because
Yeah.
that Latin music fucking blows up fast. So it was like I was like my first time getting it went platinum, Latin platinum. So it was like my first time getting a plaque.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was
sick.
to me was like super sick,
Hell yeah.
I have it hung on my walls. I got like to see it. It's just like damn, that's
Hell
just sick,
yeah. As you should. That's like yeah, that's a big thing.
But yeah, that's kind of how we started working with them. Literally everything was through Instagram.
Yeah. It's
It
crazy,
just
right?
connects you, man. Social media.
So what would you say is your biggest goal as of now?
As of now, honestly, when I moved out to LA, my goal was just to learn as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because I came from, I wasn't fully directing when I was back in the Bay. Like I was directing, before when I was, when I met you and stuff. I was doing little videos, and then I took the role of more of doing like the cinematography instead of directing.
Yeah.
Because the other dude was like doing more of the directing. And then we did that for a little bit, and then I started doing like the last few jobs that I did back in the Bay. I did my last video that I directed myself. It came out really cool. So I was like, I was hungry for that again, So when I moved out here, I didn't really think I was going to get an opportunity to direct
Hmm.
right off the bat because it's such a competitive area to be in.
Yeah.
So what I ended up when I moved out here, I ended up just linking up with artists that were like local out here, and I invested into a music video. So I put money in to be able to shoot a music video for an artist. So me and his manager went half on paying for this music video. And this artist, her name is Cassidy. The video that we shot was called Feelings, and it came out really dope. It was like the most impressive video that I've done up to date. Back, like I would say last year.
Yeah.
When I first moved out, we shot it for like $3,000, and it came out amazing, like way better than anything I've ever done. And that video helped me so much because that video got me signed to a production company, which that production company helped me a lot to learn the process of how it really is to be a director out here.
Yeah.
Because the film industry itself, there's so much things in it that I didn't know before, especially being self-taught.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school. Like, exactly how it was. Like we were doing everything ourselves.
Yeah.
We were the cameraman, we were the director, we were the producer, we were everything that had to be done. It was us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So moving out here, you get to really learn the positions and what exactly it is to be in the film industry.
Yeah. The legit.
So that to me was a lot of what I wanted to really do, to really learn more than anything. That was my goal, and to start be able to direct bigger budget videos. So after I did my small budget for like $3K, it looked so good that people thought I did it for like 10 to 15K.
Oh, nice.
So after that, I started getting videos for $20,000 to $25,000 videos. And those were the first videos that I started doing. Those were the first videos that I was doing out here as a director. So to me, it was like amazing to be able to transition from doing like $2,000 videos back in the Bay Area to going to $20,000 to $25,000 videos.
Yeah.
With like just less than a year of moving.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So that to me was like a big thing for me, and to me, I guess a goal would be to continue learning. Honestly, man.
Yeah.
I just wanna get better at my craft and hopefully create things that I personally enjoy. And if I enjoy it that much, I hope other people enjoy it.
Are there any artists in particular that you love to work with as far as directing?
As far as directing, I'm trying to think. Now that I understand how labels work with directors and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
It really puts you in a perspective to like, it's better to build a personal relationship with an artist instead of being hit up directly by a label, I would say. So if I get to the opportunity to build relationships with certain artists, I would love to do stuff for just aesthetically who I really enjoy watching is I love The Weeknd's work. The Weeknd's visuals are amazing.
Yeah.
I feel aesthetically I would be able to do some cool things there. Frank Ocean, of course.
I think you would make a good director for like J. Cole.
J. Cole too, I guess. Yeah, he's a dope artist.
I can
Music
see that.
wise, I feel like we connect as far as
Yeah.
because my style is very moody.
Yeah.
Um, it's not very like happy looking.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
Uh-huh.
so
I can see that.
I enjoy music that's like deep. I enjoy deep music. Like things that have a message in it.
So
Um,
what would you say are your favorite artists now then if you're listening to music that give you that deep style that you're talking about?
yeah. Honestly, it's like my music style is so crazy though because it's like I could go from listening to straight reggaeton music, like ratchet reggaeton music, to
Yeah.
listen to like Frank Ocean to where it's complete opposites.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like, being Latino, I'm like versatile with the style of music that I listen to. But right now, I've honestly, I don't know, man. Music to me has always spoken to me in different ways.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not necessarily just on the type of videos that I would want to create, but I love music in general. So it's like I'm open to any type of music. If the music speaks to me and it paints a picture in my head, then I can visually work with it.
Yeah. How how about do you feel like you want to go back to doing any kind of producing or engineering or that sort of stuff?
Um, Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I love being in the studio, but I don't know if I would go back to like becoming a music producer again.
Yeah.
Um, just because I was like, I never got to the level of music producing to where I felt that I was confident enough to be like, yeah, I'm a music producer,
Yeah. Mhm.
because I was just a kid in his room making beats, and you know, and I slowly got to meet other people, and as I was getting better at making beats, but I never got to the level to be like, yeah, I'm a dope producer, like
Yeah.
fuck with me. So my skill set has always been a visual person since I was younger. I started with art, I used to draw a lot, and I went into like graphics and then photography. So I've always been a visual person.
Yeah.
Uh, but music is always it's a thing that it goes hand in hand to me.
Mhm.
Like without the music, there wouldn't be a visual because
Yeah.
I listen to the music as I'm creating something. So
You know who would make a dope ass collab with you? I think if you and Nelson would get together, I think you guys can make
yeah,
something
now
sick.
Nelson has some really dope work.
Oh yeah,
I've been,
Nelson's
yeah,
is crazy on his DP
yeah,
stuff
I've
and
been
all that.
following her stuff for a long time now.
Yeah, I
He
was
actually
what was that?
no, because I was gonna say like he actually had some really dope work back when I still lived in the Bay. I've seen him doing like bigger things that I was like, yeah, that stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
He was doing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully have him in a podcast pretty soon. But no, that's dope, man. Do you have any memorable memories as far as your process of like from being in San Jose to moving to LA? Anything in between that time? Anything that is a highlight to your life? Like, man, I can't believe this happened, or anything like that?
Mhm. Well, when I was in the Bay, I worked at a recording studio, so I was the photographer and I would say like co-director, cinematographer there. Like that was my role pretty much.
Mm.
So I was a director, photographer, and graphic designer for the studio.
Yeah,
Um, so I did a lot.
yeah,
Um, and I would always be in the studio regardless because I was just kind of like our ticket spot.
yeah,
And being in the studio, I got to be around artists that became my friends and stuff like that. So I already enjoyed being in the studio a lot.
yeah,
But when I moved to LA, I my roommates actually had a connection to Juicy J's manager, which he always wanted someone to be in the studio to be taking documenting things, taking
yeah,
photos, videos. So I was already used to being in the recording studio. So when I came out here, I started doing the same thing as I was doing back home, being in
Mhm.
the studio again. But now I was in the studio with people that I grew up listening to. So that to me is like when I was in the studio with Juicy and ASAP Rocky.
yeah.
That to me is I think one of the highlight moments of like I can't believe I'm fucking here right now.
That's
So
sick.
yeah, that was an incredible feeling to me. It was like it was I got to see ASAP, in the booth doing his thing.
Yeah,
Tyler the Creator showed up just to say what's up. And
I don't know.
that to me, it was like, I'm a fucking kid from San Jose,
Yeah, I know.
you know,
That's
to
dope.
be right here sitting down and fucking documenting these moments,
Yeah.
uh, was crazy, you know. So
Yeah. Hell yeah.
around a couple of people in the studio, that to me was like, well, I used to listen to you. So
Did
yeah, it
how
was,
did you have any kind of like starstruck moment, or was it like I need to be professional, so I'm not gonna be acting like that?
I think it's more of you got to be professional, even though
Yeah.
deep down you're like fucking screaming, you know, like
Yeah. Hell yeah.
you're like yeah, that you get to, you know, because I've been on set a lot already with artists that are like major artists, so it's like me being in the studio with them, it's like kind of the same feeling,
Mm-hmm.
where you have to keep your composure and you have to be professional.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's the main thing that they look for. They want people to feel like they want to feel normal around people. They don't want to
Yeah.
feel like, oh, I'm the superstar around you, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's the main thing. If you're comfortable, they're comfortable.
That's true.
But yeah, I think that to me was like a really cool kind of feeling. Like just alone with Juicy, like I like that was my first memory of being in a car without my parents was us playing 3-6 Mafia. You know,
Yeah.
so
Damn.
so that's why it was like when I got to meet him, it was like, damn. Like I even told him, like, bro, like I grew up on your shit. You know, like it was crazy to me, and it was funny to talk to him about all this stuff about his music and asking him what does this mean in certain songs, and he would like explain to me, and I was like, damn, this is tight. Like I get to like talk to you about shit. You know?
Have a casual conversation.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like it's super cool. You know, so that to me, I think would be one of those highlight moments of like how different life is from being in one area to the other.
That's
Because
sick.
it literally just takes you getting up and taking the risk and following through with it. Because
Yeah.
it took me years with building up locally to really find the courage to be like, okay, it's time to like leave home and pursue this full time. Because
Yeah.
being in the creative industry is kind of scary. You know, like you don't, especially self-employed. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
you don't always have that financial backing of like how someone else having 9 to 5 will have. You know, so
Yeah,
it's like,
you're really just like a recording artist, right? I mean, you don't know if you're gonna hit it big or not, so it's like the
yeah,
money.
that's exactly
There's
what it is.
bills need to be paid.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. So it's like you have to like live your life, uh, but at the same time you're constantly working, because you want to, you know, get ahead. But it's always like a scary thing because of like in the creative industry, it's a risk. You never know if whatever you do is going to be successful or if people are going to like it and if people want to pay for it. You know, so
Yeah,
it's kind of one of those things where it's like being home back in San Jose. I still, at that time I still lived with my parents, so it's like I was already paying for everything myself because I had quit my job and I had bought my own car and I was self sufficient with like the money that I was making, but I didn't make enough to be able to move out and be paying 1,500 by myself at an apartment in San Jose and not have the business coming in like how I wanted to, you
the
know?
traffic. Yeah,
The traffic, yeah. So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like either I stay here and continue like playing like pretend
yeah,
that I'm doing something, or I go and try to risk it. I don't have a family yet. You know, I was single, I had no kids, so I was like, I'm gonna go try it. I'm gonna go to LA and figure it out. If it fucking works, it works. If it doesn't, then I'll figure it out. You know, so
yeah,
but luckily, man, it's like it's been a blessing to just have people want to work with me and like have people believe that I can do something that
yeah.
people will like. So
That's hella
I feel pretty grateful.
that's hella dope. And you kind of gave sparked a little conversation in my head. Would you say that taking a larger risk is more rewarding than taking a smaller risk? Like what you said right now, that it was good that you moved out and you went to LA. Like, would have been, of course, it feels like a better move, right? Versus staying in San Jose. Like, if
Mhm.
you would give advice to someone, you would just say take the bigger risk or don't do it at all.
No, I would always say do the risk, because honestly, man, it's like you'll never know And if you don't actually do it, and you're always gonna have that in your back of your mind, and like, what if, you know,
Yeah.
like what if I would have done it? Because
Mm-hmm.
I have that. Like I spent years in the Bay where it's like, what if I would have moved sooner? Like where would I be now?
Yeah.
You know. So it's like that's why to me it's like take that risk and do it. You know.
Yeah.
I honestly it changed my life completely moving from just my skill set alone. Like I learned so much and I became independent and then my hustle grew crazy because once you're out here, you are so hungry to want to be in the positions that of the people that you looked up to, or just in general, like seeing other directors or other cinematographers or people in the industry having constant jobs and doing great work. You're like, how did they even get to that position? Like, where? Like, how did you start? And then you start just like working your way in there from the lowest position as a PA. You wanna just get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And once you have your foot in the door, you just gotta work your ass off and show people that you're worth it, that you are someone that they can call on, and you are reliable, and you have a good work ethic. That's honestly what it is. Like
Eh,
even to this day, I don't have no ego to like if somebody hits me up to do a smaller job that's not even as a director, like I'll probably still do it because it's like being on set. It teaches you a lot. Honestly, you get to build relationships with people, and the more people you know, the better. And just learning, honestly. So
yeah. Well,
I would say definitely take that risk.
dope. That's dope. And there's another thing that also came to mind. There was a book I was reading a while back called Millionaire Success Habits, and one of the things that the guy was talking about was that when you're pursuing something you want to do in life, like your parents are always going to say that, oh no, you can't do that, you have to do this because you want to have a bright future. But it's funny that they they say what they want for you, like they're trying to make the decisions for you, which should be yourself. You should be making your own decisions. And that book was so rewarding to read because it kind of reinstated the ideas that we have as young entrepreneurs or creatives, is that we want to do something that makes us happy. And
Mhm.
it was kind of like written in stone that don't follow that tradition because you're not going to be happy, and then you're going to be like you said, you're going to be living this world that you're like, man, I wish I took that risk.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Yeah.
take that risk, do what you want to do, but the way you're going to get there is by putting your blood, sweat, and tears into it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And honestly, man, that's another big thing with like your parents. Like, I know my parents; they had the best interest, for me because it's like they just want me to be successful in whatever I do. They just don't want to worry that years from now it's like I'll be fucked and they can't help me no more.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I get it. I completely understand it. But at the same time, to me, it's like they had a different upbringing. To them, was like they were chasing money because they wanted stability. Um, and they give us the opportunity to be able to have an open mind since they already kind of did the groundwork for us to where now it's like we should they allowed us to have our imagination open to like the possibilities of different type of jobs, not just the same type that they kind of grew up with. Like my parents wanted to have like that stable job that just gives you your check, then you get your family, and then you're set, you know.
Yeah.
But I just kind of always believed in never chasing money.
Yeah.
I always felt like if you chase money, it runs further from you.
Yeah.
Um, so to me, it's like that's kind of like what I've stuck to, and it's like I've always just cared more about creating something that I enjoy and that I'm happy doing, and instead of like me trying to do something for money. Um,
It's almost like saying, don't even think about it. Like, just do art. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, in a way, it's like once if you really enjoy something, um, and you keep doing it, you eventually get to a level where it's like you're gonna get really good at that,
yeah.
and people are gonna want something from it, and that's when you eventually can turn it into a business. Of course, as an entrepreneur or just as a creative in general, you always have to. I feel like this is something that people lack because there's a lot of people that are really good at what they do, but they lack this kind of like that into entrepreneurship in themselves. Like they don't know how to transition into making that into a business
Uh,
or how to like carry themselves like a business. Like you
yeah.
might be great at art, but you also know how to. You need to know how to like be your own manager, how to be your own salesman.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, no one's going to do any of that shit for you. You're the only person that can get yourself ahead, you know?
That's actually another good topic is how do you handle the business side of the creative? Like, how do you even like get to that level where you'd say to yourself, maybe I need to read a book or I need to watch a video. Like, how do you take initiative to learning that? Because everybody needs to learn it, right? I mean, you need to know how to do business.
Honestly, you can learn this different multiple ways. My personal experiences, I learned it through my actual 9 to 5 jobs. Actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I learned it because from the start, I was working in positions where I was a salesman. Either I was upselling, because I used to, when I was my first job ever, I was working at Michael's Arts and Crafts.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
I only got into that job because I was good at art.
Yeah,
But
I remember
used
that.
to work in the art department. I mean, I used to work in the custom frame shop.
Yeah.
So there, they would make us do upselling. So you would go in there and I would have to sell you, a more expensive glass or a more expensive frame or whatever it is. So I already was being trained to like how to upsell.
Yeah.
And then after I moved from there, I went into auto insurance as a broker. So that alone right there was commission based.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to sell myself pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like how to become a likable person, and talk to people and be relatable to where they feel comfortable spending money with you. And that was like the most important thing that I learned is be a personable person to where they want to spend the money with you, even though that service they could get it anywhere, but they want to get it from you. And that was like the main thing. And now it's like when it came to my art was doing a lot of the talking, and then I was the one closing the deal.
That's a good one.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much how it was for me. And then that's kind of how it is for me still. But once you get to a level of like, you have a lot of business coming in, you got to also remember that you have to be professional at all times, because in the areas that we grew up with, like we weren't really taught these things. So a lot of people weren't professional. Like even certain clients that I had, they didn't know how to interact with you in a professional level. So once you start carrying yourself as like kind of like a company, I would say, if you carry yourself in that way, people start seeing you in a different way to where they would feel like they're talking to someone higher instead of talking to an individual.
Yeah.
So they don't feel like they want to lowball you anymore because you carry yourself a certain way. So they're like, oh, no, we can't do that with him, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of something that I guess helped me a lot. Is just in the way I carry myself and just trying to be professional with everything, even if it's a small job to a large job. That work ethic that you have will definitely help you a lot.
Yeah, that's big. That's one thing that I've also put my efforts into learning a lot this past few years, is reading books and educating myself on business. And I mean, it's just, I actually like business because my dad was a wholesaler, right? So he just, he loves negotiating and buying stuff, reselling it. So I did get that kind of sense of business through him. But yeah, I think that's really important, like how do you set the price, like what would you like give advice to someone that is trying to get to the next level as a director but can't cross over because maybe they don't know how to price the project? Like how do you tell them, like, you raise that price, or
honestly, pricing is always a difficult thing because how do you value art,
Yeah.
But when it comes to directing, especially young directors, I would say don't really worry about the money.
Yeah.
It's like, always ask for a budget, but don't ever make it seem like it's money that you want to put in your pocket. Because that's the mistake that people make. They work for money instead of trying to come out with a better product. I literally, like, I know we're in quarantine, but I took on a job that and it wasn't really a job. It was this artist that I've been wanting to work with. They had a smaller budget, but I wasn't going to make no money. So it was a very big risk to try to do a video right now during the time that we're in. And I still did it, but I did it in a way where it's like I put all that money into the video. I made no money at all for myself, but I hired people that I know that could help me bring the ideas to life in a way that I wouldn't be able to do it myself.
Yeah.
But at the end result, you get a better product to where it looks more expensive than what you originally charged. So when the next one comes around, now you can say and use that as an example and be like, that video, it's a $10,000 video, but you really shot it for either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But now you can tell your client, this is what you can get with 10 or more. You know?
Yeah. That's a good
but
one.
I would always say that, use, especially if you don't have much work showcase to be able to even give prices out. I would say try to build a resume or a reel of work that shows what you can do, so you actually know how to price it yourself, so you actually know how much it took into going into it. So when you value it, now you're like, I think this would be around this, you know?
And also,
honestly, it's kind of like a tricky thing, but yeah, that would be like the closest thing that I would say, especially for younger directors that are starting off. Definitely invest more into the product of what you're trying to put out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, what I've learned too on that regard is that only put the best work that you've done on your reel. Don't put anything that you're like, oh yeah, that was cool, but it could have been better. No, put the dopest shit that you have. You know what I mean? Like that's what people are gonna see first. They're gonna be like, they don't want to see something else. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And this is funny you brought that up, but this is another thing that I learned off of being out here was one of the owners from the production company that I'm signed with. He gave me this advice, and it really stuck with me because he told me this, like, you're sometimes going to get jobs that you might not be in love with the song or in love with the concepts, but always try to at least include something that you really want to shoot into the video, even if it's 15 seconds. Even if it doesn't make the final cut of the video, those 15 seconds can be used for your reel. You know?
That's a good one.
So he was like, any video you shoot, if you do not have anything in those videos that you would put in your reel, that you failed.
Yeah.
So always shoot something that you know you're going to be able to use on your reel, even if it's 15 seconds from it. Not the whole video, but even if you have 15 seconds, then that's good enough for you to have it on your reel, and you progress. You know?
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice right there. Oh yeah.
So I definitely try to always look at that now when I'm shooting, even if I'm not crazy about the song. Like, I always try to make my concept be like, okay, I know this is something that I really like, and I know I like looking at this, so this is gonna go on my reel. So even if it doesn't go on the final edit of the video, I can still use it. You know?
Yeah, that's sick. And also another topic that you kind of brought up is the quarantine. So I know we can't do much right now, but as far as the quarantine and not being able to go out, what are some things you're doing to stay kind of busy, or what are you doing right now?
So luckily I've I come from a background of graphics and editing and stuff like that. So I've been getting jobs from getting just graphic design jobs, editing jobs. It's crazy because the industry is still going, but not in the same way that it was before. They're trying to find new creative alternatives to do content now. They're trying to figure out if it's like doing animation videos or doing social distancing style videos, where either they're performing on FaceTime or doing different things. But somebody has to edit all that, So usually they hit us up for people like me that it's like, I know how to edit, so it's like I'll still be able to get jobs. I shot that video that I was telling you about. It was more of like, I felt like I shouldn't have done it just because I felt like I was like the problem, like the stay at home thing. I felt like I was, contradicting the whole thing of like, if I tell someone like, yo, be safe, stay at home, but I'm over here shooting the music video.
Yeah, I know.
But I try to do it with a very small team. We were like a group of 10. So even then, still a lot of people, but I made sure everybody had to wear protective gear, like gloves and a mask the whole time we were on set.
Yeah.
And then we did it in locations where we were out and about somewhere large, by like we did it on some hills.
Okay.
So there was no one around besides us, you
Open
know,
field.
open field.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm sure if a cop would have pulled up on us, we would have got tickets, you know, because
What
during this time we can't even get permits to shoot out here right now.
what's the ticket rates right now?
So I think they were around 1,000, dude. From last time I heard.
A
So
thousand
that would have
per choya?
per
Okay.
person. I think so. But it's
Oh
like
man.
that would have sucked, you know?
Can you imagine you're like paying someone 1,000 for something? You're like, here's $1,000 ticket.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Actually, it
that would have
wouldn't be
ruined us.
too bad because 1,000 they're making, they're just paying it.
Yeah, but then that we
um,
would have come out of pocket for that because we
and
put them at risk, you know?
yeah, and so what are your plans after this is over? Like, do you have anything in mind that you want to do right away after like this restriction is over?
Yeah, I honestly, I've been getting ideas together for things that I want to do, like more personal jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's always this is the thing when you move out here, you get stuck on the I want to do jobs for like these artists or like these bigger people,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you forget that love of why you started doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, so to me, I want to go back to the root of like doing something for fun, doing
Yeah.
something free that doesn't involve like having to work for money or
Pa-
anything like
a
that.
passion
So
project.
a passion project,
Yeah.
exactly. And I've been wanting to do something that involves my culture a little more.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
so I have this really dope idea that I want to do, and call it cultura.
Dope.
And so it's kind of like something I've been wanting to put it together, and I was literally in the process of putting it together, like putting the pieces together right before we went on lockdown. So
Yeah. And
I think that might be the first thing that I do when we end this, and so it's cool that I guess it happened because it gives me more time to develop it.
yeah,
Um,
that's what I was gonna say right now that
but
you have more
but
time.
yes, but it's pretty much that, man. It's like I feel like this time has given us time to rest and to reconnect to our creative side.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got so used to being busy that I feel like a lot of people were addicted to that, to the just being busy. You know?
Well, even
Uh,
especially in LA too, right? I mean, it's fast
yeah.
paced.
'Cause everything's so fast paced. Everybody's doing something that I feel like slowing down and going back to basics of like, okay, now I have time to think of some ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like a lot of people are going to come out with a lot of cool things off of this.
And how do
I'm
you?
sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm gonna go ahead.
And another thing too, I wanted to uh, tap into a bit is how do you get away from all that? Like when you're not creating something, how do you unplug? Is there anything you do that like this is what I love doing when I'm not working or something?
I'm trying to think. But that's gonna go back to how I was saying, like I have different outlets of creativity that I can hone in on. Like
Yeah.
if I'm stuck with directing, I usually just end up jumping to like photography or graphics or something like that, or even just writing something else like music. Still,
Mm-hmm.
like I'll go back into doing some music stuff. I wouldn't say like music. I would never follow it professionally, but it's still something that I love. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'll hit up my homies that have a studio and I'll just go hang out, and just be around music or something. So there's always something you can do.
So there's
To
not
me,
so there's nothing per se that is not related to what you do that you do to relax.
I
Everything's like what you do already.
kind of, because it's like again, at the end of the day, this was my hobby.
Mm-hmm.
It just became a job, So
Yeah.
that's the thing that a lot of people forget. Like they feel like, oh, this is my job, and now it's like it's not fun no more.
Mm.
It's like, well, if you're not working on a current job, then you can still do fun things within it.
Yeah.
Like I've been trying to learn more about like printing my own work because I feel like I got lazy off of that. It's like I have none of my work printed, so it's like learning
Yeah.
more about like the type of paper that you want to use or
Yeah.
the way you want to lay it out.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting creative ideas of how to like physically make art.
Yeah.
It's another thing that it's like it keeps me busy. It keeps me thinking of different ways of being creative, but it's like I'm using my hands now.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a whole different feeling. I read this book. it's a pretty cool book. I don't know if you've ever read it, but it says "Feel Like an Artist."
Oh yeah,
Um,
I read that one.
it's
That
a
was a good
really good
one.
book.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. So I like something that it said on there is like use your hands and to have like an analog desk and a digital desk, and that's
Mm,
something that I've been kind of doing a lot lately.
yeah.
Like it's I started using my photography in a different way. So I never used to print my work, but now I started printing the photography itself and rescanning it.
Oh, I
It
see.
gives it a whole different look to it.
That's
So
sick.
you
Yeah.
can cut it up, you can do different things to it, and now your textures and everything are different, and it gives the photo a different look compared to what it was before.
Yeah, that's
So
dope.
it's like a different way of editing,
How did
but
you
you're using your hands.
how did you
You
get
know,
that idea?
honestly, man, it's kind of like you see a lot of different things online and stuff like that, and I seen this artist that was doing a lot of mixed media,
Uh-huh.
and he was using like screenshots and using his phone to record certain things, and I was like, that seems like a cool idea to
Mm,
do.
yeah.
So I was like trying to figure it out myself, and then I stumbled upon different things that I can use that work for me. Um, but it's pretty much that. It's like, and it's funny on this book. It says, feel like an artist, of course, but it's like once you're doing something, you're gonna find your own way, and it's gonna unlock a whole different part of your brain. You'll be like, oh, this is a cool thing to do, and this could work for this. Um,
Yeah.
but it honestly is that. It's just testing. It's just being experimental.
Experimental. But it's funny because sometimes you wonder like how do we even start with that idea, right? It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're creative people already, but because I find myself sometimes in that position where like, yeah, I'm really creative doing things, but sometimes I'm like, how do I push that envelope? Like there's got to be some kind of trigger that kind of makes that, happen, right?
Yeah. No, it definitely is. And that's the answer that I've never found. You know,
Yeah.
uh, it's like 'cause we all go through that moment still. You know, like
Yeah.
trying to figure out like what can we do to unlock a different part of our brain
Yeah.
that helps us be more creative. You know, there's
Kind of like
I,
that movie
I,
Lucy.
I don't know if I've seen that one. Is it like about some psychedelics or something?
No, it's Scarlett Johansson. She unlocks 100% of her brain.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, she's on a different level.
Well, damn. Well, shit, you can take some shrooms or something. Probably unlock something else.
Hey, actually, I think that's another way. I mean, not that I've done that, but I've heard stories that people do these psychedelics and they like reach another
No,
level of creativity.
yeah, no, I definitely heard of that. I personally never tried it myself.
Hmm.
I'm actually kind of curious to try it. Not gonna lie,
You should,
but
and then let me know.
yeah, it's definitely one of those things. It's like I actually do want to try it.
Yeah,
I will probably go somewhere in nature though
yeah,
and see what you can do. But I've heard a lot of people do stuff like that. Either they microdose or
yeah.
they go on trip and it's like that something unlocks or you just see something new that could help you. But I don't ever want to say that drugs are the answer. But it's
I know,
like
right?
sometimes look at the people that used to do all this stuff like Steve Jobs is fucking on acid all the time.
Have you seen
So
that film on Netflix called LA Originals?
yeah, I actually just seen it like 2 days ago.
Man, that
Yeah,
wasn't that dope.
yeah, it's crazy because that literally reminded me of how we were back in the day.
Oh
How
yeah,
we had
the
the
studio.
how we had the little studio
Yeah,
and we had just different little pockets of things that we could do in it.
yeah.
So that was really like, damn, we used to be just like that, you know?
It's funny because I had no idea of the story of Mr. Cartoon and who's the other one? Esteban, right? Oriole.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, I had no idea that those two were like the duo back then. I mean,
yeah. I didn't either.
he's still doing it, but like I didn't know that that's how it started. So that was a dope ass
Mhm.
story.
Yeah, another thing that was really interesting in that documentary that I don't know if people pointed it out, but
Hmm.
it's how you as an artist have to keep developing yourself and advancing in the way things change in the world.
Yeah.
There was a scene that I believe Esteban was talking about, like how he can't keep up with Instagram and how
Yeah, I remember
how
that.
are other people with like more followers but less work than him and all this stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and that's a very interesting topic because it happens to everybody. There's always going to be somebody new that's going to come in, younger and better than you,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you stay ahead of that? You know,
Yeah.
because he was even saying like, I'm a world famous photographer, but look, I got a bunch of bills that I haven't paid.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
That was a good one.
it's like, how do you transition into like not just being the artist, but being the business owner and being the entrepreneur, and then like
Yeah.
figuring out ways to like advance and not just fall behind, you know?
Keeping up.
So
Well,
those are definitely things that I see and be like, because you know that's kind of like, you could say that's the future if you don't do things the right way, or like see the mistakes they made, for you to be able to like be like, okay, this is, I'm not going to do that same thing, because when I get to that level of age, or I want to be able to own something, to be financially stable, because that's always the main thing. As an artist, I don't even think we ever think about our future, our financial future, but you know,
we just want to keep creating.
yes, exactly it. And I'm pretty sure that's how it was for them, and they end up in a position later in life where they're like, fuck, you know, like, look at this, like I might have done all this cool shit in my life, but I haven't broke. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good perspective. So it looks like we covered a really dope variety of topics, and I know we could go on for hours, I feel like, but I do want to keep these.
We haven't talked in like years, man. So it's like,
Yeah, that actually made it better, huh? All these stories that we have. But I think we could definitely leave this for another episode or podcast. You know what I mean?
Definitely, man.
I think it was dope to catch up with you, and I know you're gonna keep doing some amazing things still, because I'm always looking at your stuff. So to wrap this up, I don't know if you wanna plug it with anything, any shout outs or anything, anybody, you know, any handles or whatever.
Nah, man. I think we pretty much handle everything. It's like, you know,
Or at least shout out your IG again, so people don't forget.
Yeah. Well, shit, if you guys want to follow me, it's at Edgar Daniel 199X.
Yeah,
That's
so
on Instagram.
Yeah, check him out. He's always putting out some dope. Actually, he don't put out anything unless it's dope. So, yeah, definitely check him out. And also, I think you have a website. It's edgardaniel.com/videos, or, you know, edgardaniel.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just checking it out right now, actually, before I called you.
Dope.
Yeah,
I got to update it.
really dope stuff. But thank you again for being on this podcast. And anything else you want to say?
No, man, I appreciate you having me on, man. It was good to catch up with you.
Yeah, man, sounds good. Thank you, and stay safe. I will definitely catch up with you very soon.
All right, bro. Take care, man.
All right, man, you too.